All right, now we're gonna go through our next two examples here from the lesson on this. Okay, so our second example is we have 4x squared and 2 times the square root of x. All right, we're gonna see are these inverses of each other. And you know, when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, I don't know, man. I don't know if these are inverses of each other, but we're gonna find out, right? So the first one we do is we do our f of g of x. All right, so we go this, and so when we do that, we start with our g of x. So our g of x is 2 times the square root of x, is this. And now we're going to plug that into f of x, right? And that becomes our composed function, all right? So that's going to be 4 times, we're going to leave space here for our g of x, and then we're going to square whatever we put in for x. So we got 2 times square root of x, right? So what we get here when we do this is we get 4, and now when I apply this, remember I got to apply it to both things, and then we get times 2 squared, and then the square root of x, right? So we'll do this. We'll go squared, and then we have this squared as well, right? So that gives you 4 times 4 times square root of anything. When you square it, just becomes that thing. It becomes x. So what we get is we get 16x, right? Now, right away, that tells me that this is not an inverse, all right? And it means you should stop and not do any work. But just to prove a point, I'm going to show you, we're going to go the other way just to you know, see if maybe it works that way but not this way. Either way, it's not an inverse, right? We know that, but I'm just curious and want to have a little more practice with this. So let's try it going the other way. So if I do that, my f of x is 4x squared, and then we're going to put that into my g of f of x, right? Which is going to equal, so you go 2 times square root of, and then it's got kind of a built-in spot for us to put f of x in, so we're going to put that in right there, 4x squared. And so this gives me, right, 2, well, the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of x squared is x, so it's 2 times 2x, which is 4x. So I get 2 completely different things, right? And you know, and this just goes to show, and this one, if you start one way versus going the other way, it doesn't matter. You're going to see right away that these are not inverses of each other. So you would say not inverses of each other. All right, so this is a big no right here. Okay, and you have your work to prove it. Okay, now if you would have just done this, you could have gone right from that to this, right? So we're completely all right with that, but I just wanted to show you it didn't work the other way. All right, now this last one, all right, not sure. I'm thinking it looks a little better than the last one, but we're going to find out, aren't we? So we're going to go f of g of x. All right, and so the first thing we're going to find is g of x. So basically just copy down our first function. And then when we do f of g of x, so this is my second part, right? So you always start with this one, and then you take that, and it goes into there, right? So my f is this thing squared plus 4, all right? And so we're going to put in my g of x, goes right in there. We got x minus 4 under the radical sign squared. All right, so whenever you square a radical, anything you square radical, basically it just becomes this thing, right? It becomes whatever's under this. So this turns into x minus 4, and then plus 4. And then what happens is these guys cancel, and you get your identity function of y equals x. All right, so far we're in good shape, so we're going to keep going. Keep going. All right, and so now we will do g of f of x. And so we're going to start by writing our f of x down first. All right, so f of x is x squared plus 4. And now we are going to put that into g of x for x. All right, So my g of x is this square root of something minus 4. So we're going to leave a spot for the x, and we're going to go minus 4. And we're going to put this under there. So we're going to go x squared plus 4. All right, because that's the x, right? And that's what we're putting in for the x. So if I simplify what's under the radical first, right, I get x squared plus 4 minus 4. These are going to cancel, and you get the square root of x squared. The square root of anything squared is just that thing, so the square root of x squared is x. And we get y equals x. So we get the identity function 2 times, and we can confidently say, yes, they are inverses of each other. And that is how these work. Okay? So good luck with these. We'll see if we're putting together a homework video, so there may be a third video with me going through a couple examples, but we'll check that out in a second. Okay?